Alright guys, so I just got out of the movies like not even an hour ago. And by the way, if you haven't seen The Last Jedi, click off this video right now because we're going to talk about spoilers. So these are just my early thoughts in the film right now that I just finished watching it. Like maybe a few opinions might change over time, but these are just my overall thoughts just coming out of the theater. So this movie's not what I expected. Or, you know what, let me start over. It is different. In some aspects, it is different than the other films, which is a good thing. I did not expect a bunch of characters to be killed off. You know, even if they were minor characters, I did not expect that many to this degree to be killed off in the second installment, you could say. Don't get me wrong, I really did enjoy the film. It was a blast. I thought the space battle was amazing. The battle in Crate was amazing. The whole scene with Poe and Rose in the casino was pretty funny. You know, the introduction to Benicio del Toro's character was I liked it. I feel like we needed some sort of different character that's, you know, he's neither with the First Order nor he's with the Resistance. He's just doing his own thing because he only cares about himself. I like that. As much as I love the climax with Luke and how strong he's become with the Force, I don't know, I was pretty sad to see him go. I didn't want him to die, especially in this film. I expected to... If he was going to die, I thought it would have been until Episode 9. I didn't think it would be in this one, and I don't know, it did kind of... Not kind of, it did, you know, upset me that he's gone. But I'm pretty sure for Episode 9 they'll probably bring back Mark Hamill to play as a Force Spirit. I mean, they did it with Alec Guinness, and they brought back Yoda as a Force Spirit, so I'm pretty sure that he'll come back. You know, Mark Hamill, he'll come back for Episode 9, but in the story, it's still kind of sad to see Luke Skywalker, he's gone. So yeah, we'll miss you, Luke. That climactic scene between him and Kylo Ren, that was fucking amazing. I mean, never did you expect that they can do that with the Force. At first I did think that Luke managed to, you know, find his way onto the planet, but I did think it was odd that they mentioned how there was no exits from the little, what's it called? The old rebel base that they were at, that there was no exits in the back. So it's weird that how he just came in. I thought that was a little bit strange, but I didn't really think too much of it. So it made sense that, oh, well, he's not really there. He's still in Octo. That shows that he is one of the all-time, if not the best Jedi to ever exist. I mean, just by doing that, it was amazing. The thing that I didn't like, you know, what they did to his character, and I know that even Mark Hamill too was surprised by it, was how they made him seem at first that he just wanted to give up. He basically quit. From the beginning of the film, when Rey just approaches him, he has no intentions on training Leia. He has no intentions on training Rey. And he's basically just given up. He has no hope. Hope is what was the foundation of the original trilogy. Through the rebellion, through the rise of the Jedi. And it's not like him to not have hope anymore in this movie. I get what happened, that he lost his new Jedi Order and how he feels that he failed Kylo Ren. I do understand that aspect. But, I mean, if you look back to Obi-Wan, he felt the same way about Anakin. He thought that he failed him because he turned into Darth Vader, but Obi-Wan didn't give up. I mean, he went on to exile and watched over Luke to see him grow because he knew that he would be the next hope and he would train him. And for Luke to just, at first just reject Rey and not wanting to help her out, and just he has no faith on anybody or anything anymore. I don't know, that's just not like his character, or that's not how I've known. That's not the Luke that I was expecting, in this new trilogy. As far as Kylo Ren though, I'm not gonna lie to you, I thought he was like an emo crybaby at The Force Awakens. I quite didn't like him that much, but I can't say that about this film. In this film, he's a complete badass. I mean, you can clearly see that he has his conflict, just like how his grandfather did. The way he killed Snoke was just fucking amazing, dude. I mean, honestly, obviously, there's no words to that. I didn't think he would kill him off. And that's another thing, we'll get to that right now, but that sequence of him and Rey fighting off the Red Guards was, it wasn't over the top, but, I mean, it was action-packed, you could say. That's the best way I can describe it. It had its action, it wasn't too over-exaggerated, and it felt grounded. I really am hoping that we get to see a lot more of his character development, a lot more in episode 9, which we will, obviously. And I'm calling it right now, he is going to turn to the good side. Because even though he's considering himself as the new supreme leader of the First Order, no, I feel he still has that conflict in him. Not only that, but he also butt heads a lot with General Hux. That it's clear what's going to happen with that. Eventually there's going to be a breaking point between them two. You get to see why he is the way he is now. I mean, he feels that he was betrayed by his parents. He feels that his own master betrayed him. And which really wasn't the case. One thing that I did really enjoy about this film was the aspect of how both the Jedi and the Sith are wrong about the Force, which it was pretty obvious that they were going to go into this direction, even based on the trailers and everything. I really did like this approach because it shows that, I mean, if you think about it, both Luke and Kylo Ren they kind of want to do almost the same thing. Kylo wants to get rid of the Sith and the Jedi. Luke wants to get rid of the Sith and the Jedi. But they have different ways on wanting to handle it. So I think that's pretty interesting because they're diving more into the whole aspect of the Grey Jedi thing. Which, I mean, it's indirect, but it's pretty clear that Luke is training Rey to become a Grey Jedi. Because he's now fully aware of the mistakes that the old Jedi Order used to do. And he doesn't want that to pass on. One thing I didn't like was that they killed off Snoke right away. I was already getting the impression that this Supreme Leader was more powerful than, even Emperor Palpatine. Or even not as powerful, but maybe on par with him. I expected Snoke to continue to be the main antagonist all the way to Episode 9. And to see him get killed off in this film, while it was, pretty badass of Kylo to do, I feel like it was, I don't know, I don't really necessarily agree with that. I kind of wish they could have waited to do that for the 9th film. I also feel like they didn't really show enough of Snoke's full power. Obviously they did show that he is indeed powerful, like how he manipulated both Kylo Ren and Rey, or just the way he, maneuvers around the Force in his throne room. Obviously he is powerful, but we've seen that already. And I feel like they didn't show enough about him. I kind of wish they would have shown more of his full power. I don't know, just seeing him get killed halfway through the film, I don't know, I kind of didn't really like that. I do like the fact that this film's not like The Empire Strikes Back fully, because it really is different. It's not the same as The Empire Strikes Back. I didn't see any, direct correlation between them two in comparison to, The Force Awakens and A New Hope. I think the only thing they did keep very similar to The Empire Strikes Back was the battle in Crate. because I mean it's a planet. You know, it's not necessarily snow, but it's a white planet. There's walkers and the rebels, or should I say the resistance. They're fighting in what's it called? Oh, I'm losing my train of thought. Trenches. That's what it is. Trenches. Sorry guys, I had a long day. Right now I'm just correlation that I can find between this film and The Empire Strikes Back was the battle in Crate. It was a little bit similar to the battle in Hoth with the walkers and the, being a white planet and having the resistance fighters fighting in trenches. That was, that was a little bit similar to The Empire Strikes Back, but that was pretty much it. I didn't see a lot of similarities with it, apart from it just being the downfall of the resistance, just like in The Empire Strikes Back, how that's basically the lowest point of the rebellion. Here, it's the lowest point of the resistance. Because they've lost so many people in this film, their numbers are low. So, yeah, they're in trouble. They need to find more help. They don't have a republic anymore. I also do like the fact that Rey is already starting to become a full-fledged Jedi Knight. So, I mean, obviously she was powerful as early as in The Force Awakens, but she didn't really know how to use her powers yet. She was still a little bit clumsy with it. Here, after training with Luke and Octo, you actually get to see her move around like a true Jedi Knight. And while I know a lot of people didn't like how the Jedis fought in the prequels, that was so over the top apparently. I liked it. In this film, it's a little bit kind of like that, but not to a full over-exaggeration. But I like it. I do like how both Rey and Kylo Ren, they're showing that they're very skilled lightsaber users. The whole thing with Finn and Rose, it was fun to watch. But I kind of feel like they were forcing something too much between them two, or especially on the side of Rose. Because I do get that they want to kind of give her a little bit of character development, but I felt it was a little bit rushed. How she lost her sister and how she wants to, continue fighting with Finn. And they're kind of trying to force this little romance between them, which, I don't know, it didn't seem real to me because, we know that Finn really cares about Rey. So, the main reason why he even left to begin with was to find Rey. So, having to force this potential romance between him and Rose was just, I don't know, not really that believable. This was a huge gripe for me, and that's because I'm a huge fan of R2-D2. He was rarely in this movie. In The Force Awakens, he rarely came out at all. He just started to make movements towards the end of that film. I expected to see a lot more of R2 in this one, but no, he rarely came out yet again. I do understand that they kind of want to pass the torch on to BB-8 because everybody loves BB-8. But, I don't know, R2 will always be my favorite droid, and I think it was a little bit unfair that they didn't give him enough scenes in this film. Hell, C-3PO had more lines and more scenes than R2 did in the entire film. So, yeah, I didn't like that. I wish she could have had a bigger role in this film. I feel like they didn't really go into full detail about the origins of the first Jedi Temple and, the origin of the Jedi Order, because they talked about it in The Force Awakens and they teased a lot about it during the trailers. I expected to have a lot more background about, the Force and the old Jedi Temple and the Jedi Order itself. But they didn't really go into full detail about that. They did show what could be the Book of the Wills or the Journal of the Wills, but they did not mention it after that. After that one scene that they show it, it wasn't brought up ever again. Luke did mention that how he said that, you know, the Jedi have been wrong all this time and because of their hypocrisies and everything. But they didn't really go into full detail about what the truth behind the Force. They didn't talk about that. They just teased about it a little bit, and then they just continued on with the main plot with the First Order. Oh, and the Yoda cameo. Oh man. So that I didn't expect that, honestly, because maybe a lot of you did, because of rumors or because of spoilers, but I did not expect that. You have no idea. The minute that I saw him appear in this film, I got a huge smile on my face because I love Yoda. And it wasn't the CGI prequel Yoda either. It was kind of a blend between CGI, but it was more of a puppet, like an actual prop. You know, similar to the one used in the original trilogy, which I thought was pretty neat. I really didn't expect that. And I thought it was funny how he's doing the same movements as he did in The Empire Strikes Back and making jokes and even hitting Luke with his stick. And that's another thing that was, had me thinking, hey, they've become so powerful with the Force that they can actually, touch, physically. That was, pretty interesting. So I wonder what they're going to do with that for the 9th film. Overall, I like the film. I mean, I feel like I was a little bit let down with a couple of their flaws, but I can't really say that I don't like it or that I didn't come out of the theater unsatisfied. I liked it. I loved the space battles. I loved every single minute with Rey training. It was great. So obviously I'm not going to make a full-fledged review about the plot and, full details of, things that I noticed, because I just came out of the theater like just an hour ago. So I'm just giving you my thoughts, my early thoughts, just walking out of the theater. I have to see it a couple of more times to actually review it. But for now, I mean, it was good. I mean, it wasn't like the best Star Wars film. I mean, like I'm telling you, I was a little bit let down on a couple of stuff. But, I am looking forward for the next film. I wonder what they're going to do for the 9th film, though, because they really tied a lot of loose ends with this one. I mean, apart from Kylo still being with the First Order and Rey continuing to become a strong Jedi Knight, I wonder what they're going to do for other storylines, because again, with Snoke, I thought he was going to be there till the 9th film, so so yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. Those are my early thoughts on The Last Jedi. No, I don't hate the film, but I'm not a super huge fan of it either, so I have to see it a couple of more times to actually let it sink in and actually talk about it in full detail. So yeah, hope you're having a wonderful night, and I'll see you guys in the next one. May the Force be with you.